Welcome to the biggest painting that I've ever painted and also the biggest pain in my painting bahoon. Do I have regrets? Maybe a little. First, I'm going to start by putting it up on the wall and taping out where I think I want the painting to be. Is this the best way to go about it? I have no idea because I've never done anything this big. But hindsight is 20/20, so the reality is I do know now that this was the wrong way. I don't know what way is the right way, but this definitely was the wrong way. It was so difficult. Anyways, I'm going to take it down and paint on the floor because I don't know how to paint on the wall. Also, as you can see, there's some cardboard underneath it to catch all the paint that I assume is going to go straight through this piece of fabric that I was given. Oh my goodness, this painting was so difficult and had so many twists and turns for me of how I thought it was gonna go. First of all, this is 8 times as fast as I was actually painting, but my goodness, this is how it felt I was painting. I was painting so fast, and this had to be done by the weekend, and it was already Thursday or Friday. So I didn't give myself a lot of time to get this done, especially considering it's such a big piece and that I had never done anything like this, so I was just kind of winging it, which, let's be honest, that's kind of how I do any art project / how I live my life. It's called being flexible, darling. Anyways, back to me painting. I'm sitting on top of cardboard because all of this paint is going straight through the fabric. I have no idea how it's going to dry, what color is going to dry, if it's going to be really stiff, or if it's still going to be quite flowy as fabric. No idea. What I am realizing as I'm painting this is that this is quite physical. I'm crawling all over this piece. My knees hurt like crazy. So yeah, I was sore for days after I finally finished this piece. I mean, who knew that painting could be my next favorite workout? The new Zumba. Just kidding. Anyways, this was a big project. I had no idea what I was doing. And to be honest, do I even know what mountains look like? Because that's what I'm trying to paint here. Whole bunch of mountains. However, in my head I went mountains, 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 triangles. We're just gonna go with triangles. Is this gonna come out in any way, shape, or form? Okay. Probably not. Whoa, hold your horses. Let's be positive, okay? Let's not get too pessimistic, because the truth is that it is what we make it, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and triangles can be beautiful too. I mean, who doesn't love a love triangle? I mean, different triangle, but all triangle nonetheless. We're getting off the point. The point is that we're artists, and so anything that we do is wonderful and intentional and artistic, and that's what we're going for. And the truth is, at the end of the day, if people like it, then it doesn't really matter. And then it means that anyone can do it, really. Anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. We're literally just painting triangles. Anyways, let me take you through my process of how I thought this was gonna go. What I did was I hung it on the wall, as you saw earlier, to see what it would look like. I couldn't visualize it on the floor. Then I kind of taped around the border of where I wanted the painting to be inside. Just the mountains. I am actually gonna paint a little sun above the border, but I was just gonna wing it. But all the mountains are gonna be within the green tape, and then we're gonna cut the painting out so it has nice lines and edges. That's what I'm thinking. I was gonna try to use the tape to tape off all of the mountains, and then I realized that was going to take a long time and a lot of tape, and I didn't think that I had that kind of time or that amount of tape. Then I grabbed and mixed these colors that you see on a paper plate, which was another bad decision because the plate could not hold the amount of paint that was on it. The plate was quite useless. And these are the colors that were chosen, were black and white, so I decided to just mix up some black and white to get a very light gray, and then I add a little more black to get a darker gray, and then more black to get another darker gray, and then more black to get a darker gray, and then the last one I was going to do was going to be straight black. Let me tell you, I went through tubes, like 4 tubes, huge tubes of black paint. And as maybe you can see, as I get further and further down, I start wetting the paint more and more to help it spread. It's very unspreadable. So I realized that I was running out of paint quite quickly and I needed to stretch the paint. So that was another purpose of the water. Hence you see my handy dandy water bottle coming in clutch. However, it did mean that the paint dried even more splotchy, which I like in the end, but it wasn't necessarily consistent because when I started with the lighter layers, I did a lot heavier of paint, but it was taking so long and it was taking up so much paint and it was destroying my shoulders because it was so hard to put down on this random piece of cloth. Speaking of the bad amount of paint I used on this very thin fabric that I've never used before, it all seeped through, and as it dried, it cemented itself to the cardboard underneath. Problematic. So trying to get this up and move it and be able to hang it on the wall, ooh, I literally couldn't do it. I had to ask my wonderful assistant to help and to pull it up for me. I didn't have the strength. So I highly recommend that if you're going to do one of these paintings, first you do arm day and leg day first, because there was a lot of squatting out my thighs and it was hard on my head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And no matter how hard I tried, yeah, a lot of the paint ended up on me. Also, it took forever to dry, way longer than I was anticipating. We actually had to get the hairdryer out and force dry the painting because it was taking way too long. We don't have time like that, not this time. And I was thinking, oh, it's just fabric, like it's so breathable, of course it's gonna dry. Well, of course I was wrong. And we still ended up giving it to them with it wet. Oops, daisy. Anyways, thank goodness for electricity and hairdryers. It's dry enough for my favorite part, to go ahead and put down the cute little deer. This was for a cute little couple that liked deer, so I wanted to make a cute little deer couple. Also, that's what I was told to make, so we can pretend like it was my idea, but not necessarily. And who doesn't love a cute little couple of somethings and paintings to be like, love, symbols of us? You know, I really like that kind of stuff. I eat it up. So I was really happy to be making something like that. Anyways, going in with a nice little Sharpie because I was not confident to just paint straight on. And we had no room for error here. We had no time for mistakes. Not today. It was important that we got it to where it needed to be, on time and finished. Also, this is the last bit of black paint that I had. Like I had to search for this. I had to search for this black paint and then squeeze it out of no man's land because I didn't think there was anything left in the tubes. Anyways, you could tell that they were deer. So mission accomplished, ultimately. Mission accomplished. This was also my favorite part of the whole thing. Not because I necessarily didn't have to do an arm workout for it, but because cute little deer couple on the mountain, like, what a cute idea. What a cute idea. I wish I could take credit for the idea, but it is just so cute. And I had a lot of fun painting antlers. I have a lot of fun painting deer. It's one of my obsessions. I am so thrilled to paint a deer anytime I'm like, what am I gonna paint? I want to paint a deer. So when someone was like, these people really like deer, I was like, I want to paint deer. I want to paint deer for them. I really am going to do this whole painting again. I feel like I learned so much about painting on random pieces of fabric and so much about larger artwork. And I also feel like I learned a lot about my body and how to use it sitting on the floor and how important supportive pillows are and how important being in the proper position is and not all hunched over like I was 90% of this video. Back to this, I need to give you some fun deer facts really quick because they're my favorite and that's what we are painting. First fun deer fact is that deer can run out on the road and hit your car and be completely fine and completely destroy your car. Yeah, who knew? And sometimes you can't avoid it because they literally come out of nowhere and just hit you from the side. Not like, oh, I hit them, they hit me. One time I had like 6 deer hit me and they don't leave insurance. So how was I going to fix that? Who was I going to blame? And who was going to believe me that they hit me and I didn't hit them? Anyway, second fun fact is that they can jump really high, like up to 10 feet high. So I could be standing there and a deer could just jump right over my head. That would be so cool. It's never happened. However, it's nice to know that it's a possibility. Deer are also very good swimmers. So this summer, when you're thinking about, hey, who do I want to invite to the cookout pool party? Think deer. Great swimmers. They could be a great addition to your next backyard cookout. And lastly, Chinese water deer have long canine teeth. Oh, the better to bite you with. They can take a chunk out of you. I had no idea that China was facing those kinds of hardships. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed those fun deer facts almost as much as you enjoyed me painting. Let's go ahead and finish up this painting by doing a fun little circular sun or full moon. It really depends on how you feel. What do you see? Art is subjective, but we're just gonna put a yellow circle in the sky. Then after I satisfyingly ripped up all of this tape, I had my painting assistant go ahead and cut it out because at this point my arms and hands were noodles and there was no way that I was gonna be able to cut a straight line. Anyways, here is the cute picture with the cute couple. I could never have painted anything that does them justice. However, here it is. Glad I made it on time. I hope you enjoyed watching me paint this more than I enjoyed the actual process of painting it. But I like the way it turned out and I can't wait to try again. Come back tomorrow to see if I'm still as sore and if I can paint this whole painting again, but without destroying my body.